He was humiliated by a rich player. After standing up, Jack looked around and found that he was the only archer in the area. However, Jack liked this feeling.
But before we continue, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new here.
This time, when the new VR online game was launched, Jack, as usual, started with customizing his character. He made a face that was particularly ordinary. Then, in the skills menu, he chose the weakest archer profession. For his life skills, he picked the most useless one, alchemy. Because in this game, you could buy all potions from NPCs at a very cheap price. Jack chose the kicking skill, which had no finishing moves. For his body technique, and for magic, he selected wind magic, which was weak against both fire and earth. His escape skill was a very energy-consuming stealth skill. Finally, Jack created the weakest character. Jack decided to visit the training ground to improve his skill proficiency. When he picked up the bow, he realized just how weak this skill was. It wasn't even about hitting the target. He was struggling just to release the arrow. After many attempts, Jack finally leveled up his archery to level 5. Then, he leveled up his other skills and finally ventured into the wilderness. Today was the first day the game servers opened, and there were more players than monsters in the area. Jack decided to gather herbs first. While identifying the herbs, he discovered 2 poisonous plants. Jack was really puzzled about what the game designers were thinking. Afterward, he bought a beginner alchemy kit and followed the instructions to craft healing potions and antidotes. His alchemy skill reached level 7. When Jack returned to the wilderness, most players had already left. He then discovered a unicorn rabbit. When Jack shot the arrow, it completely missed the rabbit. On his second shot, the arrow merely grazed its hand, which made the rabbit extremely angry. In a critical moment, Jack used his kicking skill, finally killing the unicorn rabbit. Mike, who was watching Jack's operation, started mocking him. After Jack caught his breath, Mike sent a friend request to Jack, wanting to team up and become the funniest duo on the server. Mary, who was with Mike, also added Jack as a friend, and they left together. Jack continued killing monsters to level up. This time, he decided to hide behind a rock and, when the unicorn rabbit wasn't paying attention, suddenly used his wind magic. This skill was much better than before, but it relied too much on the terrain. Jack suddenly remembered that he had a stealth skill, so he used it and successfully sneaked behind the unicorn rabbit. He then shot another arrow, and Jack triggered the critical hit achievement. He didn't expect these 2 skills to have a hidden buff bonus when combined. Jack was excited. After returning to town, Jack bought a loaf of bread from the NPC to replenish his energy, but it tasted awful. Jack, who cared a lot about food, decided to research cooking. He sliced the rabbit meat and fried it in a pan, then added salt and pepper for seasoning. However, when Jack bit into it, he almost broke his teeth. The cooking rating was only 2 stars. Jack started improving his method, cutting the tendons and adding herbs to reduce the gamey taste. This time, the meat was much softer and tastier. With a 5-star rating, Jack still wasn't satisfied and tried again. He blanched the meat before frying it and added more seasonings. This time, the food tasted delicious, and the cooking rating reached 7 stars. The smell of the meat attracted many players. Jack immediately set the price at 100 gold per serving, trying to scare them off with the high price. However, to Jack's surprise, the players unanimously agreed to buy it, even though it was 20 times more expensive than the NPC bread. Jack sold all the rabbit meat he had caught that day and even learned the cooking acceleration skill. Since there were no archers on the server, Jack had to buy materials and craft his own weapons. After several attempts, he finally crafted a fine bow with an attack power of 12. With the money from selling the rabbit meat, Jack went to the trading post and bought a set of fine armor. Now, Jack didn't look so weak anymore. Thinking about future expenses, Jack listed his cooking items and rare potions on the trading post to test the market. He then ventured into a more advanced wilderness map.